Who said I love you first?
Me.
Was it? Okay. Yeah.
And who's the funniest out of you two? When it comes to parenting, do you have a good cop and a bad cop?
I think maybe it's a case of which kid annoyed which parent. Whoever's the annoyed parent, the other one could be the good cop.
Yeah, I get that. Great. Hi.
Hi.
How are you doing?
I'm good.
Hi, Funmi. We've got people tuning in from Zimbabwe, people tuning in from Birmingham. They're all excited and can't wait to hear all the gems you're going to drop.
Hello, hi everybody from Zimbabwe. I'm from Birmingham.
Hey.
Yeah, so we were just talking about, obviously, running a business is really something that it takes up a lot of time, and you've got 2 young children as well. So this is going to be obviously quite interesting to find out how you guys manage them. But before that, I just wanted you guys to introduce yourselves. Let us know a little bit about you two, and then we'll get started.
Charleen does eyebrows. I don't trust your eyebrows.
Wait.
So yeah, I'm Funmi. This is Bolaji. We have been married for next week. It will be 10 years.
Amazing.
That we have been married. And yeah, as you said, we have 2 young girls.
She's not sick of me yet.
2 young girls. They are almost 6 and almost 1. We live in Kent, and yeah, we are parents, husband and wife, believers, and we also have businesses together. So yeah,
that is amazing. Awesome, guys. I've got actually some quick fire questions that I'm gonna ask you to begin with, just to break the ice and kind of get into them. I don't want you to think too much of it. It's not going to be anything hard, nothing that you don't know already, hopefully. So, where did you guys first meet?
Through a friend?
Yes, through a friend, and it was in London. In London, right? Yeah.
Are you sure?
Yes, it was. Yes, we are.
And
you want the story or just the location?
Oh no, the story would be good. Is this friend involved in this?
I mean, she's kind of pivotal for us meeting.
Yeah.
But
you could call her a matchmaker without even realizing. So I think she was. So it's a mutual friend, and she was kind of speaking to me about someone, and I think she was also speaking to Funmi about me. And she was describing this person, and I was like, oh, okay, yeah, sounds interesting, sounds good, hook it up, as you said. But then we kind of met, and we just kind of met as friends, and we started getting to know each other. And I think what our mutual friend thought would happen happened. And, we hit it off, yeah. You want anything I missed or?
No, I think you hit the nail on the head.
All right, that is amazing. So you owe her your love story, basically.
Basically, yeah. 12 or 13 years ago?
Yeah.
Oh, that's amazing. That's absolutely awesome. Who said I love you first?
Me.
Was it? Okay. Yeah.
And who's the funniest out of you two? When it comes to parenting, do you have a good cop and a bad cop?
No.
I think we wear different hats at different times.
Mm-hmm.
So there'll be some times where I will present myself as the good cop,
Uh-huh.
and there'll be some times when Funmi will present herself as the bad cop. I think maybe it's a case of which kid annoyed which parent. Whoever's the annoyed parent, the other one could be the good cop.
Yeah, I get that. I think we have a similar dynamic as well. Like, if I'm the one who's annoyed, Mrs. is definitely a good cop, but vice versa, it works the other way around. Who's the better cook out of the two of you?
Yeah, I've got to give credit where credit is due.
And
I'm the better eater though. I'm better at eating.
Yeah, I'm the same. I prefer eating, but I also prefer cooking because I'm very particular about things. So yeah. Mm-hmm. And lastly, who's a better driver?
Me.
And how have you come to that conclusion?
I guess maybe, you know, if you're taking a score of how many knocks are in the car and how many how many bumps.
Okay, fine.
That's absolutely amazing. Thank you guys. Thank you so much for that. Just thought, you know what, we'll just break the ice, get to know you guys a little bit more, and then we'll get started. So guys, for those of you listening live, if you've got any questions as we are going along, please feel free to ask them. I know that I received a couple of questions earlier on, but then we'll just get started. So obviously the $1 million question that I have for you guys is a lot of people that I've spoken to have said that they could never work with their spouse because they think that just that dynamic is a messy one. So how do you manage working together, living together, and doing life together?
Yeah, I agree. Don't do it. Just don't. just don't. If I knew what I knew now, I'm joking. For me, I have to answer this one because one of the things which pertains to family businesses, our daughter is screaming upstairs. So I'm just going to go and see to her and I'll be back in like 2 minutes.
We have the older one babysitting.
I know, that's the dynamic I have here. So I know exactly what you're going through.
Maybe I'll start answering the question. So, so not every couple can do it, definitely. Yeah. It takes a lot of communication, a lot of conscious communication, I would say. Yeah. And being very much aligned in your vision and your purpose and your mission. And I think if those things are not there, then don't do business together, right? Yeah. And I think you've also got to have a very thick skin and know that, you know, where is your mindset at, you know, both of you. So what is when you, in your vision, what is your mindset towards achieving that mission? What is your mindset towards the things that you have to do to achieve that vision? Because, you know, being in business is not easy. So what are you willing to do? What are you willing to risk? What are you willing not to do? These are conversations that you definitely have to have because, like, you know, when you take those vows for better, for worse, like the worst can be really, really, really bad, right? Yes. So I think when people take those vows, they take them very lightly because you can't imagine what the worst could look like in your situation, right? It's going to be different for everyone. And, you know, for some people, it might be, I don't know, oh my gosh, we can't go out for dinner for 2 nights, for 2 weeks or 2 months or whatever, right? But the worst for some other people could be like, you can't pay your mortgage for a few months because, you know, you're putting all your money into the business, or, you know, well, can we downsize for a little bit before, you know, while we make the business work, right? So there's going to be a lot of give and take when you run a business together. So, or it's the give and take that you have a part-time job while you run the business. So it's like lots of things you have to bear in mind when you do that. So for us, I think we had to come to a place where we had to really talk about, okay, are we seriously going to do this? This is what it might mean for our family. It might mean working 7 days a week, simply because, like you said, we have 2 young kids, and that means we can't work the normal hours that we would work because, you know, either they're around or they're in school or whatever it might be. So we have to basically just balance it and just know, okay, at the moment we're sacrificing sleep, right? It's just one of those things. We have to sacrifice sleep because we have to work late when the kids have gone to bed. Another thing is we have to look, okay, what cutoff do we have for discussing business and discussing family matters, and like kind of avoiding everything bleeding into one, if that makes sense. But at the same time, you also have to know each other and say, actually, is talking about your business not 24/7 but a lot just part of your being, like, and it works for you, then that's also fine. So you just got to find what is the rhythm in your relationship that makes it work in the business relationship as well, and as a bigger part of your relationship. I hope that answers the question.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And you spoke about communication, and I think that's really key in anything, like to be able to communicate. And what you said was you have to have the same vision. Everything has to be aligned, otherwise you're not going to see eye to eye, especially when times get tough, because we all know that starting a business can have its own challenges, and if you're not mentally prepared for everything that's going to come your way, is going to absolutely rock the boat. And that's another thing that you mentioned, like obviously you can kind of have boundaries about when you start business talk to when you go into marriage talk. So how does that work, that dynamic for you guys? Like, how do you know that with Funmi and Bolaji, the married couple, Funmi and Bolaji, the business partners, how does that work out?
Shall I let you answer that question?
Yes. So what's the balance of business versus I mean, I think as Funmi was saying, it's not easy. I'm probably really bad, right, for this. My background is corporate, and I'm used to kind of like I went through militant corporate training, and then when lockdown happened, when we found ourselves working at home, it kind of it kind of messed up the boundaries of, like, when does work begin and like when does home life begin and end. The boundaries just got blurred. So we had to kind of forcibly, diarize things like date nights, or after a certain time, no shop talk. And Funmi is very good at policing that, and I need it. I could just go on forever. So I think it's all about being intentional and like putting things in place because you know yourself and kind of your nature, but you're also intentional, because it's like we want to like have a success and abundance of all areas of life. Business is only one part of it. Our family life and our relationship and our spousal relationship, husband and wife, but also with our kids, these are all things that we have to be very intentional about doing. So I think basically putting those markers in place has been very helpful for us, and I think we're still developing and learning, and we're a work in progress.
Yeah, no, that's really good that you obviously spoke about the intentionality of it. You have to be really careful not to, and like you said, diarize, because sometimes people are like, if I'm gonna have to put in the diary, I'm gonna have to be reminded, then it's not as romantic. They've got this romantic idea of everything, and if it's not happening spontaneously or naturally, it feels like you're forcing it. But then it's something that you have to do in order to make sure that you're still maintaining healthy relationships in all areas of life. And so sorry.
No, I'm agreeing with you.
And the other thing, like, let's say that you and Funmi have had a disagreement about business, about where you want to take your business. How does that then affect normal home life, family life? Does that disagreement kind of go into that as well?
So, I mean, first of all, I just want to make it clear, like, we disagree often. So I want to like dispel this myth that everything is roses and we we write XOXO and love hearts all the time. No, like we disagree a lot. But I think just to kind of add to that, I see it as a good thing, because I really value having somebody by my side who has a strong opinion and who has like a who is able to, you know, like almost like fight a corner and make a good argument. Because like we are kind of seeing ourselves as a strong unit whereby we're going to go out to the marketplace and we want to display the same strength. So disagreements are a way of showing that internally. But in terms of how we kind of deal with it, I would say, you know, differences of opinion. Sometimes we just agree to disagree, but I think we're at the point now where we can understand the difference between a business disagreement, and like, or, you know, something to do with relationship, or I think the lines have fallen in a nice kind of boundary now. I would definitely say it wasn't always like that.
Yeah.
Right? So I think we've definitely had to work through a bit of understanding of each other, how we communicate and stuff like that, to the point where, okay, now we understand, okay, when you say that, I get where you're coming from, this is what you mean, and I'm trying to understand, you know. So yeah, what would you say?
Yeah, you said I agree with.
Yeah. And you said something that I thought was really, really good, that people believe that if you're working together with your spouse or running a business together, everything is going to be rosy. You're always going to be agreeing. You're always on the same page. And when that doesn't happen, people are, oh my goodness, we make the worst decision possible.
Yeah.
But then it's about understanding that you can actually learn from each other's differences. Each person brings like a different thing to the table that the other person doesn't have or is lacking. Because if you thought exactly the same way and did things exactly the same, that means that your business has got so many holes, because it means that you all have the same weaknesses as well. But then if you balance each other out, and like you said, we have to just respect each other and respect each other's opinions. And sometimes you just have to agree to disagree. Like, you know what, we're not going to see eye to eye on this one. Let's just put it to the side and move on to the next bit of the conversation.
Exactly.
I was even going to just add as well, like, because I compare, you know, my mentality in the corporate world with my mentality here at home, and it's like, I don't know if there's anybody who's on the live or who's watching who has worked corporately, and you're familiar with your work. If you work with people that like you don't get along with, or you don't like, or they don't like you, but you do it anyway because it's like what you're getting out of that work situation is it's a career, it's a job. So there's something more that you're getting out of that situation. But in terms of, you know, us working together, I feel like what we get out of it, what I get out of it personally, is much more than what I would ever gotten in the corporate world. Because what we have to gain, right? Because I'm always like a big picture thinker. What we have to gain is, you know, we're building a life together. Not only are we, you know, growing, caring for a family and all that, but we're growing, you know, can I say an empire together? Like we're building stuff together. You know? And for the sake of what we're building, minor disagreements are literally just like blips and like little bumps in the road in the grand scheme of where we're heading. Yeah. So to me, I consider that part of the core. It's all part of it, and I enjoy it.
I love it because you've got the bigger picture in mind. Everything else is just part of the journey, and like we all know, journeys aren't always smooth. You're gonna bump into some stuff, so it's just about making sure that we both are in the know of what our end goal is, and that is, like you said, building your empire. So right now it's the summer holidays, so you obviously have both your girls at home, and so how do you then do that, like family life with the girls and stuff? Do you work outside of the home, inside the home? How do you manage that?
So it's our first summer holidays with 2 kids at home. And so we went from no kids at home in the summer holidays because Elsie just started school last September, to having 2 kids at home in the summer holidays. So what we did is we kind of winged it a little bit to begin with. And we said, okay, let's start waking up early. Then the kids were like, oh, we're going to wake up early too. So that didn't work. So then we said, okay, let's work late. So after they go to bed, we'd have a few hours when we work in those hours, and we just had to kind of be disciplined, right? I think with everything, you know, something that I've had to learn probably more than you kind of helped instill in me is that motivation will only take you so far. You have to be disciplined. You have to be intentional. And that comes with you saying, we're going to do this and we're going to sacrifice something else. So for us, it would have been like TV in the evenings. That
is a big sacrifice for me. I don't have many vices, but I love my TV. So for me to say I'm switching the TV off, you know it's serious.
So we had to sacrifice, okay, in the evening where it's normally relaxing time, downtime, falling asleep on the sofa time in front of the TV, you know, it's work time, right? So we do that. And then also, I guess, with the kids, so that we can balance also getting some work done in the day, but also doing activities for, you know, our 5-year-old. We've said, okay, well, the baby still naps in the middle of the day. Why don't we go out in the morning with Elsie, you know, do something fun? And then we've kind of tried to come to a compromise where we said, okay, when it's nap time, you go to your room and have a couple of hours in your room. You can watch something, you can play, you can do whatever, but just have a couple of hours in your room, quiet time while Mummy and Daddy work. Because she's old enough to understand. And we tried to actually talk to her about, you know, Mummy and Daddy have a business. This is kind of what it means. Talk to her in the terms that she'll understand. You know, trying to explain to her that we are building something that can afford us the kind of life that she wants. You know, we have a vision board on our TV that she can see, right? So she can see a house with a swimming pool, and we can say, look, we're working so we can have a house like this at, you know, at some point. You know, we just went to Disneyland, you know, this is because we have a business, we were able to afford it that way, but it means we have to work hard if you want to continue having these kind of things in your life. So we kind of just trying to explain to her that when there's times we have to work even when she's there, that, you know, she might be occupied with something else because we're building something, you know, for our future good. And then we also try to swap childcare with our friends, you know, that they live in the local area. So arrange play dates where we might have their kids for the day and they might then have our kids for the day. So it means we can kind of give each other a break. And so we've just kind of been balancing it like that. But next year, there's definitely going to be more holiday clubs.
I think on the child care in the summer period sort of thing. So I as much as it comes with its challenges, I love it because I've experienced the other side where, you know, I've been away for work. Like there's been periods when I've been away for like over like a month. I've not seen the kids, or I think at that time it was probably just Elsie. And to be here with them in the same room when we're doing, you know, work and business or whatever, I just count it as a blessing, you know, because we're getting to spend like a lot of time together, more time than I have historically done. So to me, this is all bonus for me. I'm really loving it. So the stress, you know, that comes with it, I count it like a small cost for me. Yeah.
Okay. And that's a good way to look at it. And like, obviously you get the privilege to be able to work and still be around your children, isn't it?
Yeah.
It does come with its challenges, obviously. But it's about, like you said, you've kind of gotten into a little rhythm there where the mornings are sometimes that you can do some stuff, and that's a really good plan that you've got there for me, where you can do childcare swapping, and you also get a break to do whatever it is that you need to get done. Because there's some times when you're like, you know what, if I had 4 solid hours with no distractions, I would get so much achieved. And that is an absolutely awesome thing. And obviously with that comes sort of like parent guilt that kind of people get. Like I know people always go on about mom guilt, but dads get guilt too. And like you said, you used to have like months where you would have like a month away. So how do you handle parent guilt when you obviously can't do as many things as the kids would want you to do, or you do have to kind of be like, we're going to have to sacrifice something in order to make the business work?
I think there's no way you can escape the guilt, and the guilt. When I say the guilt, I don't think we feel that as much now. Simply because we know why we're doing it, and you can never, I'm sure as a parent yourself, you can never satisfy your children enough.
Yeah.
Right. we can do so many things, and they can still say, "What else are we doing?"
Well, give them the Disney World example.
Which one?
So when we came back from Disney World.
Okay.
Yeah.
We went to Disney World. Elsie met her princesses. She went on rides. Like Disney had been on her wish list for the last couple of years, and it was a surprise that we went. So obviously did the thing, came back, and then near us, we live in Kent, near Bluewater. They every summer do this like beach setup, and this summer they had singing princesses. So Sleeping Beauty, Aurora, and Cinderella were there singing, and we went with her friends. They were playing and stuff. So she met the princesses. They played in the paddling pool. They played on the beach and stuff. Fake beach, and
the car park that they turned into a beach.
Yeah. And she said at the end of it, "Mummy and Daddy, this was the best day ever." And we're like, "That's really great, but Disney World. What are you talking about?" So should we not have gone to Disney World and just spend the £9 that we spent to come in here?
You could have saved quite a lot of money. I wish you would have told us that, Elsie, 2 weeks ago.
It's always the case, isn't it? You buy them an expensive toy and they pay with the box.
So in regards to guilt, I think we've kind of accepted that guilt is something I think that's imposed by society, in the sense of the expectation that is on us, that we have to be the perfect parents, that we have to always be there for our kids, we always have to entertain our kids. And I think we've just had to come to a point where, look, there's going to be there's a time when we spend time with our kids, we give them as much as we can do, and some things we might not be able to do for them, but that is fine, because we are fine. There's a lot of things that we went without when we were growing up, right? And we know what we're working towards, because we know that in the future there's going to be much more. And to us, when I say the future, I mean 3, 6, 9, 12 months. So in the very near future, there's going to be a massive increase. But at this time, we also know that, okay, we do as much as we can to still give as much value as we can for the kids, for them to not feel like, okay, they're missing out on stuff.
That is absolutely awesome. Thank you so much for that. And like you said, the kids will always want more, and it's not even about wanting more. They've got like the
expectation,
worst, shiny syndrome, like shiny penny syndrome. Like they've got it the worst. Like they could have the absolute most amazing day ever, and they'll see a child with ice cream and think they've had the worst day because they didn't have ice cream on them.
Sorry, one more thing. For her 5th birthday, we got our daughter a unicorn, right? So a unicorn turned up for her birthday. She rode it number of times. She had the best birthday ever. And then she remembered one thing that we forgot, and she cried about that one thing. And it was glitter tattoos. It was like something so insignificant.
Yeah.
In the grand scheme of the day. So that's when I realized you can never be guilt-free, because they will always make you feel like there's something that you didn't do for them.
Yeah. So you just make do with the best that you can, and give them the best possible experience. You do what you can with the resources that you have, and that's the best way to go about it. So I received a question here. It says, how did you start your business, and what were the challenges? Any advice?
So I guess where we are in business now is kind of an evolution from some experiences that we've had in the past. So I've had corporate experience. Funmi's had corporate experience, and we've both had experience in working, in a digital agency capacity, and then we moved into coaching. So I think for us, things just sort of naturally progressed. In terms of starting, we had advice from like our accountant friends, in terms of the structure of the business.
Mm-hmm.
But in terms of just kind of starting out, I think we got to the point where it was like, this is what we want to do, this is what we know that we're supposed to do, and we just went out and did it. I mean, we're still on the journey. Our approach was, we could figure out whatever we need to figure out, and kind of let's go with it.
I mean, I think there is also, saying something about. There's something to be said for asking for help, right? So we also have mentors and coaches that we work with to help us to kind of work through anything that we don't know, right? Or we didn't know, shall I say, because you don't know everything when you start a business. Yes, there's Google, there's YouTube, and you can obviously do lots of searches for things you might not be sure of, but like working with a coach actually who can guide you through the process is definitely invaluable. And I think, the first place to start, which I think I took for granted, was your mindset. So actually, the first place I would say anybody should start, and where we actually start with our coaching clients as well, is always mindset. So if you're wanting to start a business, but your mindset is one of lack, or one of, how can I possibly do this? Or, not being in a position where you really believe anything is possible, then you're not going to get very far. So you actually have to really work on your mindset, I think, before you start, not just business, actually, anything in life, but I think especially business.
That is awesome advice, and you hit the nail right on the head. Like, you need to start with your mindset, and a lot of people forget that. And like you said, it's not just business, it's with anything. So even if you wanted to fix your marriage or fix your family life, you also need to start with your mindset. If you're of the mindset that they're never going to change, or things are always going to be the same, then that's the result that you're going to get. So I think that's absolutely awesome advice. And so you have mentioned there that you started a digital agency and that you're also business coaches. So what is it that you do in your business coaching?
So we work with coaches, we work with consultants, we work with entrepreneurs who either want to start an online business or who want to grow their online business. And we have a program called the Dream Clients Conversion Game Plan. And what we really do is work with our clients over a 90-day period, and in that time we work with you on creating or refining your offer. We then give you a strategy to quickly we give you a strategy to quickly test your offer, validate your offer, make some money, so you can really, I guess, feel like, okay, this is really, I've got a business, this is working, and then help you to kind of scale that, systemize it, so that you can live life on your terms, in a sense of, okay, are you a busy parent? So what systems would you need to help you keep running your business so that you don't have to be working in the business 24/7? So having a business that's not at the detriment of your family, or the detriment of your freedom, or the detriment of the things that are important to you. So, yeah.
And Funmi is an absolutely amazing coach.
And
one of the best.
Absolutely second that.
I mean, we come as a team, we come as a package.
Yeah, but yes, I second both of you. Yeah, absolutely. Because the coaching that you do is absolutely amazing, and it helps people. And just to kind of close off our kind of time together, thank you so much. I know that you're very, very busy people. What would you say is the number one piece of advice that you would give anyone who is married and looking to start a business together?
Who is married and is looking to start a business together? Over communicate. So when you think that you're communicating, you're probably not communicating enough. So don't keep anything inside. I think, in marriage, in relation anyway, you've got to communicate. But I think when it comes to business, even more so, communicate, over communicate, and have clear boundaries.
Yeah, I second it. When you leave things to assumption, you come up with this men Mars, women Venus, language barrier. So things are better left not unsaid. Even if the things that you have to say might be hard, it's better to over communicate, and be clear.
Yeah.
I might add something else. Make sure that, business and marriage is important, but your marriage is more important than your business. So don't sacrifice your marriage because you want to have a business.
That is
yes.
Awesome. No, that is absolutely great advice. And what you said, people just need to learn to communicate and over communicate. Like, there is no such thing as I just thought they would know. Even if you've known each other for 15, 20, 30 years prior to it, you can't leave anything to assumption. Okay.
Yeah. Should I answer that question?
Yeah.
There's a question from Rosa in the kitchen.
Yes, great advice. How do you set boundaries then?
So someone's gonna have to be the enforcer of the boundaries. So you have to find what works for you. Is it gonna be he likes to talk in the morning when I'm getting the girls ready to go out of the door, and I'm like, I have to be out of the door in half an hour. You need to talk to me later. So anyway, so one of you has to enforce those boundaries, and you have to do it like repetitively until it kind of, sinks in. Or
I'm very hard of hearing.
Or, Charlene, you said earlier about scheduling things that people might think, oh, I don't want to have to schedule, I don't know, date night or whatever. But so for him, for example, he will say, okay, when can we talk? Can we put it in the diary? So again, it's finding out what actually works for you. So for him, if I put things in the diary, and actually for me also, it means that he can't talk to me until 2:00 because that's the time that we said we're going to talk about this. Because then I know until 2:00 I've got time to do dishes, cooking, whatever it might be. And at 2, we've set that appointment. So then he enforces that appointment. So I've enforced we're not talking until 2. But if I've set that appointment or we've set it, then he enforces that our meeting happens at 2. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
So it's finding what works for you in terms of your communication styles, the way you work as individuals and together, and somebody has to just enforce those boundaries. It just comes with, I think, trial and error, but also just being firm. And you can be firm in your marriage, you can be firm with your partner, right? It literally is a case of, no, we've said we're not talking about this at this time, so we're not going to talk about it until the time that we have set aside for it.
And I think one thing to add as well is like the way that we approach, I believe our marriage is similar in the sense that, we've made a commitment that this is it. We are in this for life. There is no backing out. That's our view on things. Now, from a business perspective, that's kind of similar as well in the sense of, okay, we've set out for this vision, we're trying to build this thing, and we're going to build it no matter what. But along the way, we're learning, right? So, if we find a path that doesn't work, whether it's a business path that went the wrong way, or whether there's a communication style that's not working, or whether it's just something that it needs a bit of a, tweak, we're happy to go through it because we know the destination that we're heading. Like, that part isn't changing, but how we get there, we know that we don't know everything, and neither of us knows everything, but we know that what we do know is we're going to get there. So, yeah.
That is awesome, and thank you for that. Like, you obviously mentioned, like, if you set an appointment, you're gonna make the appointment, and everyone's like, oh, you can't keep putting everything in the diary, but you can. And
and you have to when you're parents as well.
It stops your life bleeding into one. You don't want to be always intertwining work and pleasure. It just gives you really clear, strict boundaries so that you can maintain the two.
Yeah,
absolutely.
There's a question about qualification. So we're not we don't have a coaching qualification as such. It's something that we've thought about, but so we actually like to refer to ourselves more as like consultants, because so I kind of got this term from my corporate world experience, where we've been able to deliver successful outcomes for our clients by our engagement with them. So we put people through structured kind of programs. So it's kind of like coaching, it's consulting, it's also kind of like partnering with people, so the kind of relationship that we've had with yourself, Charleen, is it's almost like we're in the trenches with you, and kind of working with you very closely in that sense. So that's kind of how we like to treat our client relationships.
And also, I mean, so you mentioned that I know it's not necessarily to be successful to have the qualification, but I would caveat that with it depends on the industry that you coach in.
Yeah.
So for certain things you do have to be qualified. So if it's anything to do with medical or healthcare, or if you're like a health and wellness coach, then you might have to get certified. But in terms of entering the coaching space where we have entered with our digital experience, the, I guess, quote unquote qualification we have is our professional experience, and that's kind of helped us to shape our coaching and consulting business.
Thank you so much. Simply Rodna, I hope that answers your question. And says, makes a lot of sense. Thank you so much for the tip from Rosa about setting boundaries. So thank you so much, guys. And it has been absolutely amazing having you guys here. And thank you so much for being so open and honest and candid about what life is like with two little ones. And obviously today we got to meet one of them, because that's what life is just about. It's about just making that work. And just to let you know, guys, if that is something that you are doing, trying to make your marriage work, trying to make family life and business and even work, it doesn't even have to be a business, and balancing that and it's not working for you, please do get in touch. You can hit me up by going to the link in my DM and booking yourself a call, and we can talk about just how to implement all those strategies that Funmi and Bolaji have been talking about to make your partnership as successful as theirs. Look how happy they are. Look how smiley they are. And if you want that, honestly, get in touch. Thank you so much, guys. It was amazing having you. And guys, if people did want to get in contact with you, in touch with you, and wanted to work with you, how can they do that before we leave?
Send us a DM, link in the bio. We're offering free coaching sessions, so you can get in touch with us and we can have a chat to basically see how can we help, are you a good fit, are we a good fit for you? And just to give you advice, so Rodney, if you do want to get in touch, we'd be more than happy, if that is something that you're interested in, whether for yourself or as a career, then get in touch. We're more than happy to answer any questions.
Our Instagram handle, are we on the so it's at Family Business Blueprint, at Family Business Blueprint. That's our Instagram handle, and I think our Facebook as well.
Thank you so much, guys, and you have yourself a good evening, and I'll speak to you soon.
Thank you so much.
Bye.
Thank you, everybody.
Bye.
Take care. Bye.